Good evening, everyone. Thank you for being with us. We are currently live on Facebook. Just bear with me. I'm going to go public. Right. Hopefully, we would be public now. Today, we have a special program, and the program is all about, well, touching on laser. So let me just clear something before we go ahead. I have a special guest all the way from America, but before I do that, I want to make a disclaimer. If me or my guest say something or do something without any unintentional, please forgive us. If we make any mistake, we're human beings. In life, there is no protocol. We can all make mistake in life, but we'll try to avoid the mistake as much as possibly we can. So today is the 10th, Wednesday, the 10th of March, 2021. And hopefully you will enjoy. Any question, please come to my Facebook platform because I am sharing with others, so I won't see the share aspect. So we're going to have a nice, enjoyable day learning or understanding about certain things called laser therapy. So before I do that, before anything else, right, let me just introduce, or he himself will introduce, all the way from America, the man himself is Dr. David Zuckerman. Good evening, sir. It's good evening in here. I believe good afternoon in your end.
Yes, it's 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and I feel very privileged and honored to be able to meet laser practitioners who will eventually become my friends. We're in this together, and I will give you all the knowledge that I have to help you become successful laser therapists.
Okay, if you would like to, first of all, introduce yourself and your background, and then we'll kick the show.
My background.
Yes, please.
Well, I'm 67 years old. I practiced, I'm a podiatric surgeon for over 40 years. I've been in the laser community for well over 15 years. I've fortunately have a great partner here, Sumis in the UK. We're going to talk about the Remy laser. I've worked for many companies. I've done all of the lead work over the last 15 years to produce a beautiful laser called the Remy. And my background is that I've worked for K-Laser, LightCure. I've worked for major companies. Right now, we're a company that focuses on service, education, and the best lasers that you can get for reasonable pricing. My mission statement is very, very simple. It's effectiveness of the laser, multifunctional, portable, powerful. So it's cost effective to your patients, but it's very important. We're in a business, and the business is I want you to do well. You shouldn't have to wait years to be profitable within your practice. It should be months. I have over 300 physicians in the United States that own the Remy. So it's not a new laser. It's new to the UK and the EU, but it's a laser that has stood the test of time. So my background, what can I say about my background? I've done it all. I've done it all. I could live. If you want to see my CV, I'd be very happy to talk about it. But what's more important is that we talk to you about how we can help you. So I hope I can do this tonight. And this will be the beginning. This is not one lecture. There's going to be many lectures because you can't cover it all in one session.
Absolutely. I know, because we only got about half an hour, 45 minutes. Depends on if anybody want to ask questions, then we will take questions. Right. Now let's get back to the definition about laser. Previously, we used class 3B, now class 4. As experience in both of the using class 3B or class 4, if you can, doctor, explain us the definition or the differences between these two types, what it is.
The difference is very important. I've only used class 4 lasers, which are much more powerful. They have much more what we call peak power. We're talking the Remy is 30-watt lasers. It's multiple wavelengths. You need power. You need power, but it has to be safe power. And that's where the education comes in. So it's like, I always give the analogy, it's like an antibiotic. You need the right dosage. Same thing with tendinopathies or fasciopathies or arthritic conditions, neuromas, plantar fasciitis, Achilles tendonitis. The Remy does all of this. I'm going to teach you how to resolve problems fast and quick. With the Remy, I call it the wow experience. You're going to get relief, dramatic relief with the first treatment. It obviously takes multiple treatments and an average of 6 treatments, but I'm going to tell you and show you how to make your patients happy when they first walk in. That's very important. There's an old saying. My father was a chiropodist for actually 60 years, and I grew up in a podiatry family. And there's an old saying: they limp in with pain and they walk out smiling. And the Remy meets that condition. And I want to add a few more things which I left out. Marketing is important. We provide marketing, education, practice management. Every doctor is different. It's not a cookie cutter. I talk and train and find out what they need so that I can make them successful. It's not everybody gets trained the same. You get the basics, but I like to learn more about you and your practice so I can serve you.
Thank you. Why you think currently it's the class 4 in practice is a, do I say must or essential? What do you think?
Well, I'll say what's interesting. I mean, I've like I said, I work for every major company, and the reason why class lasers, they're more powerful, and they got at least the Remy is more powerful, and for years a laser could cost you, and we're talking US dollars, $30,000, $40,000, $50,000. The Remy is at least 50% less than that. And there's a reason why, because I'm a manufacturer, importer, and designer. We don't have the middleman. We go right to you because you need to have a laser that's affordable so that you can treat your patients and not worry about, you don't want to spend $50,000, $60,000 on a laser. It's not necessary. Don't get me wrong. The Remy is top quality. And I underline that. It's just that I'm a podiatrist. You're a podiatrist. We're colleagues. I want you to do well. I'm not some company, with a big CEO and 20, 30 salespeople that they all have to make a living. I take the savings and I give it to you because my dream and goal is to bring laser therapy is just amazing. It's amazing modality. So my goal again is to bring it to you affordable.
So one question I want to ask is, again, I think you did explain, but if somebody still just joined us, you have a background on laser. I believe you work for one of the famous, I don't know whether should I use the name or not, but I'll use it, a K laser. And then you got another type of laser in Europe and America is called MSL, is it?
Yeah, the cutting edge MLS.
Yeah, can you explain when you have worked with those companies and then you decided to invent this one?
Because there's a reason why. I mean, I've taken the best. Like here's the Remy right here. Look how I just pick it up. A typical K laser, it looks like a K laser, but it has a lot of it's got a bigger screen. It's got FDA protocols that have stood the test of time. I'll just give you one good example. If you look at every K laser, the handpiece is on the side. And I got to tell you, and I learned this, about 10% of the cases will crack. You put it on, you take it off. Look where this is just a small example. Look where it is right now. It's right here. It won't crack. You can take this and you can do push-ups with it, but it's more powerful with electronics today. I mean, the Remy is 30 watts.
Can you sorry to buzz. Can you explain me what is it? Is it like a horsepower? Why is what is important? Because certain lasers are 20 or 25 or 15 watt. Why is 30 watt or 45 watt? What is what? Why it should be important?
Okay, because it's a very simple. I'm going to keep it simple for you. It's very simple. It's energy. You need a certain amount of energy to call what's called photobiomodulation or a photochemical reaction. Okay. Remember, I gave the analogy of an antibiotic. You need the right dosage to kill bacteria. You need power and to turn on that chemical reaction. And that's very, very important. Energy, it's called power density. It's the amount of energy over area and time. And you got to hit the formula. And the REMI can go. It's interesting about the REMI. It can go from 0.1 watts up to 30. You can put almost any protocol in the REMI. It's very versatile. But I want you to use, and I'm going to teach you the ones that have stood the test of time. These protocols, I mean, for example, fungus toenail, I developed the fungus toenail program.
Okay. Another thing with the REMI, you have, I believe, 6 or 7 FDA approved protocol.
Correct.
Like any other, none other have similarity on that. Is that correct?
That is absolutely correct. And we have it for pain, inflammation. We have it for fungus toenails. And the thing is, it's the REMI is only as good as your ability to learn. And we teach it. It's education. You got me as both podiatrists here teaching you etiology. Lasers are not physical therapy. You can use it for physical therapy, but it's etiology. It's a package. Like there's biomechanics are important. We're going to show you how to resolve problems. It's not like run a modality over it and go by. We're going to teach you the biomechanical aspects, the orthotic experts, the stretching. It's a complete package that we trade. And so you can have the best laser in the world, and without the proper training and education, it's worthless. But the REMI has the ability to treat from head to toe. It's powerful.
Okay, I will come back to REMI's capability in a minute. I have a question from one of the UK, whether podiatrist or doctor, whatever you want to call it, throughout the world. Abid Hussein, thank you for taking the time to talk to us. If I may ask a question that you could possibly address, the current evidence for the use of class 4 lasers on a children for MSK condition is mixed.
That's a great point.
Some vector studies suggest that it affects the growth plate, but other studies have used class 4 lasers successfully for Osgood-Schultz disease. Where does the evidence stand for the use of class 4 laser for traction adiposity types injury? Is it safe to use? Okay. Any study you can point? Thank you.
Yes, and it's interesting. In my training section, I have an article. It's called The Contraindications. There's a lot of misinformation about what you can and can't do. With growth plates, with the proper training, you can use it. Okay. You don't do it 100 times, but there's studies, evidence-based studies that I'm very happy to supply to you. And from experience, it's an amazing, the REMI is amazing modality for children. Apophysitis, Sever's disease, Freiberg's disease, etc. Osgood-Schlatter's disease. It's amazing.
What my colleague is saying, there's a mixed bag of research or information coming that it possibly affect growth rate. I don't understand psychologically what's this mixed bag.
I understand the philosophy is, or the foundation is, and the logic is that you shouldn't use it on growth plates because it stimulates bone healing.
Okay.
But the evidence, I'm talking about everyday evidence, and it's published. In fact, I'd be very happy to supply. It's called Contraindications for Laser. It's removing the falsehoods that are out there by evidence, not on mice, not on rats, but I'm talking about human beings. They did a 60. It was amazing, the results. I'd be very happy to supply that. It's part of my training, but I'm very happy to supply that. Article was published, and it's called Contraindications for Lasers. But the importance of that article was not that you shouldn't do it on the thyroid. You shouldn't look down the shaft of it, but it talks about growth plates. That's just one section of maybe 10 different sections, and it gives you the evidence why that it's a falsehood.
Okay,
it's a falsehood. It'll show you with evidence why it's a falsehood.
Okay. So sorry to bother you again. Another questions I have again. Good colleagues of mine, Tim Clark. Hi, Tim. Is the basic model a dual wave or quad wave. Both of us, you and me, had a bit of discussion on that, didn't we? I like quad wave. You said no, because quad wave only 27 watt, and dual wave is 30 watts. Now, can you just break this ice for me a bit?
Okay, this is a great question. I can offer both, okay? But when you start getting into and there's no proof that it's called the therapeutic window. The wavelength, there's no proof about, which wavelength is better. We kind of have an idea from practical experience, but with the REMI dual, which I like better than the quad, I like it better because if you do a dual wave, which is 980, 810, each wavelength is 15 watts. You need that power per watts. You go into 4 wavelengths and you've diluted it. Each one is approximately, well, in the REMI quad, it's 9 watts. In most lasers, you get these 5, 6, 7 wavelengths. They're diluting each wavelength. But I got to tell you something. It's the total power. Don't look at individual wavelengths. It's the power to get down to the target. You only need 6 joules of energy to stimulate the photochemical reaction. If you want if I put a 4 wave in front of you, we're talking about pain, and a 2 wave, you couldn't tell the difference. Where it becomes important is when you're doing fungus toenails. You need that power per wavelength. You need it, okay? And I got 4 waves. I can customize anything you want, but
so in your experience, is the dual wave 30 watt? That's what you recommend. That's what I wanted to know.
Absolutely recommend it. It stood the test of time. I have over 300. I'm not exaggerating. 300 of the REMIs over the last 3 years, and the most popular is the dual. And let me tell you one thing: a quad would never get FDA clearance for fungus toenails. It's too weak per wavelength. The dual is FDA approved because they want that power. You have to have a certain amount of power. It's called joules per centimeter squared per wavelength. We know a 980 is an effective wavelength for fungus, and 810 is also. So you need that power per wavelength. Power density per wavelength is important. The quad, there's nothing wrong with the quad. I got to be honest with you, the quad is, it's like, it's a marketing thing. In other words, 4 waves are better than 2. It's not true. There's more duals out in the world than there are quads.
So it's not about a quad or dual. It's about the power. That's what you're trying to say.
Power, total power, and power per wavelength. And the dual is 15 per 980 and 15 watts per 810.
Okay, another question again, Tim. I think is a question. Thanks so much. I asked because I just bought a MLS 25 watt, but I am thinking of selling it if the REMI is better. So what do you say to him?
Well, I can imagine what he spent on the MLS, but it's I believe the MLS. I know MLS very well in the United States. I believe it's a super pulse laser, and that's totally different. It's not a true 25 watt laser. And one of the things that I found important is you do feel some warmth. We'll call it heat. When you blend the wavelengths, it's less heat, so it's not uncomfortable. It's very comfortable. But you want patients to feel and experience the treatment. Can you imagine treating them? They don't feel anything. They may think you're a charlatan. I'm not saying they don't work, okay? But you cannot on the MLS 25 watt, which I didn't know they had there. They have different ones. It may be 25 watt. It's the peak power that's 25 watts, but it only lasts like that. We're talking constant energy for a length of time. It's very quick in the MLS. Plus, you can't do fungus and you can't do surgery. The REMI is a combination of both. I did that intentionally so that you can do you need multiple treatments within one laser. I once had a laser just for warts. I spent $40,000 in 1985. I only did warts. You need to do multiple things. You can't have 10 different lasers. You can't do that. You want one laser, multifunction, FDA cleared, and power per wavelength.
Okay, another question. How does REMI stand out from the crowd?
Well, it's the only laser. I can't speak for Europe at this time, but in America, it's the only FDA cleared laser, portable, less than 4 pounds, that's FDA cleared. which is important. You can get a laser that it's not cleared, and clearance is safety. That it signifies the safety of the laser. There's a lot of testing and a lot of cost and expense. Every REMI laser has gone through rigid safety standards, which is important. I don't know. Well, the REMI is CE marked now, so you had to duplicate that.
Yes, we fought for that to get in the European market and the European market. And
we didn't have a hard time. Don't, because it already proved the safety. It has to have a safety report with it, and it's expensive. I mean, it cost us $20,000 US dollars to get the safety. It's already done. It's not a new laser, the REMI. It's got a track record. Okay,
in your experience with especially class 4 laser, because I used to have class 3B laser, it's pathetic. It's long. I had it at the end. I wasn't happy with the outcome of the result. It takes too long. Especially as a podiatrist, we are on a diabetic wound territory mostly. What do you think with class 4 and REMI? How effective is on that, sir?
That's a very good point. The hidden secret, or the hidden thing about the REMI is, and it's really was meant for wounds. I can show you studies that was done at my podiatry college. Very effective, very effective. I put the protocols in and they're customized, but the REMI does wounds. It does diabetic wounds, arterial wounds, venous stasis wounds. Okay. In fact, we use the REMI post-surgical and post-trauma, increases range of motion, swelling. But you got to know these protocols, and I've already developed them. And I'm going to show you how to use them safely and effectively. So you don't have to go, everybody's running around. Let's try this protocol. Let's try that. I'm going to give you protocols that I've been using for 15 years.
Excellent. Also, another aspect is on you said we're going to now talk about this little machine capability, that it does fungal, it does surgery, it does pain, it does wound, it cuts as well, right? It's a surgical tool as well. It's a verruca treatment. It's a small minor surgical equipment. You got certain tips, I think. Is it possible to see?
Absolutely. It's an interesting thing you just pointed out to me, Sumis, is that class 3 lasers can't do surgery.
No, it doesn't.
They can't do that. That's a class tip. Not all class 4 lasers. It's the REMI. It's divided up into therapy and surgery. It can do both. Okay, and because it has the power to do it, and we just put in the protocols that have been approved already. And not only just because you have it approved is one thing. That it already has been tested out in the field for years. So we're talking about. I mean, you can read an article. And it can say, well, we did it in 50 patients, but it's only 50. There's been thousands of patients that have used these protocols, thousands of doctors. I mean, over my experience, I put it all together. But the key is, when we used to put it together, I used to sell lasers. I had one from Aspen. It was it was the closest thing to the REMI, but it was 40 pounds, one wavelength, and $40,000. Now, here's something that's interesting, and I'll show you this handpiece. This is what the beauty of it is. Here's the therapy. It's a zoom. You can adjust it. It's light. Look at most lasers. The handpiece is light. This is 8 ounces, and you got to have that, because it's light. It can affect your hands. But watch this, and carpal tunnel on the shoulder. Watch this. I take this off. I'm a little slow today. We now have fungus. Look at that. It's right to the fungus. Then we can go right to surgery. All disposable. Look how fast I'm doing this. Most lasers, if they have the capability, they got to change the fiber optic cord and put another one in. It's just attachments.
So that's the surgical tip.
Yep. That's
fantastic for podiatrists then.
This is a knife. It will cut, coagulate, evaporate, and excise. Different protocols, You can put in 20, you can put almost, these are protocols that I developed that are cleared. But I'll show you something else that's really nice if you want it. What do I do with it? We even have the roller ball.
Oh, yeah, that's something I've never seen.
Here's the roller ball.
That's fantastic for MSK, isn't it? Plantar fascia, back pain, shoulder pain.
I'll tell you what I've added to it. Most roller balls, if they exist, they get dirty. You get dirt in here. Watch this. You just take this off. You take it
I thought of that.
You clean it, back in, back on. This is not something, it's fortunately I have engineers that we work with. I give them the ideas and they do it. I have some great engineers. Great engineers. I mean, there's just so many features of the range. It's very hard to give you all of them. I'm just giving you a highlight of it.
Is it another one you have? Spider, is it? Spider vein?
Yeah, wait a minute. It's right here.
Yeah.
We also have a non-contact one.
Which is, I have it. I will bring it.
You have it. They gave it to you. They didn't give it to me.
Okay.
It's spider veins. And you can adjust the aperture to the various spot sizes. The same thing with the Remy. If you look at the therapy, I recommend only using 20 watts. What did I do with it here? I got, you can take this, you can put it on, and if you want to change the spot size, you just take this down. You can move this up and down. It goes 15, 20, 25, 30. I personally like 20 because I want that power density, which is the highest energy per centimeter square. Because you got to the interesting thing about lasers are the reality is, you think it's not, you lose a lot of energy at the surface of the skin because there's different densities. They absorb differently. So it's like, I don't know, in the United States, we have Bounty. I don't know if you ever saw, it's a Bounty towel. When you put it on this, when you put it on the table to absorb water, it absorbs it very slowly. So when you're putting it in the skin, you need enough energy at the surface to get down to the target. If it's all lost, it's not going to work. So the importance is sustained.
We only got 3 minutes left.
Oh, it's just warming up.
How quickly it's going. Well, we'll leave the best bit for other shows. So we will have another show.
Very much. I love this laser. I love talking.
Is there any conclusion or remark, or is there you want to tell them that you have partnered in Europe, something like that?
Yeah, that's the most important thing is, I'm in the United States. We have Sumis, who is my partner with this. Very smart, educated, and practical man. Two heads are always better than one. So it's not like I'm across the pond, I think you call it. You're there. And we, it's a big world. It's a world, it's look at us talking. I'm in the United States, you're there. But I always like somebody local. And I'm sure they can come visit you in the office when times have changed. It's interesting. Things have opened. There's hope. I got my vaccination tomorrow, my last one. Things are opening up in the United States. It's getting back to, quote, normal. Trust me. My wife had kidney stones. I went to the hospital and I was allowed in the room with her. Trust me, things are opening up. This is a new beginning. And pain is an amazing, it's a $75 billion industry. And we haven't even touched the surface of it. But it's just not pain. You need a laser, pain, fungus, surgery, warts with anesthetic, warts without anesthetic. I love
without anesthetic. We have a video on that. As I said, with next session, I'll bring the video in. What without LA? Amazing, right? And what with LA? And contact surgery and non-contact surgery.
Yes.
It's all about technology, isn't it?
Yeah, and the thing is that we're colleagues. It's not like you're talking to a non-medical person. Sumis, myself, we're in the field. In the United States, we call it walking the walk. We're in practice. So we tell you what goes on in the practice, not what I heard about. This is the reality of it. So it's important you have people that are treating patients. And that's Sumis. I'm very privileged and proud to have him as my partner.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for being on this live show. Just a little bit about laser, and we haven't gone in depth. So in future, we will probably come with good education. If anybody wants to know about education on laser, I'm sure Dr. Zuckerman would love to be for an hour about education on laser therapy, modality, protocol, etc., etc. Would you be happy, sir?
I'd be very happy to do this. And one thing I'm going to do right off the bat, because I share, if you contact Sumis by email, I will supply him with the article. We talked about apophysitis. The title of it was in a pain journal. It's contraindications. goes through what is not the truth, and there's a beautiful section on apophysitis and tells you the reality.
So before we go, you have three phase you like to use it. Can you finish with that three phase? Or three?
I think I know what you think. I think a laser must be, and the Remy is powerful, portable, affordable, with education.
Education. Thank you, sir.
Pleasure.
Thank you for being with us. Thank you again. Lovely to see you. For everybody who has listened to us, or who it is a bit of education, and any information you want, they already scroll in there. And for Remy, laser.com information is there. And in future, we will bring more education into it. As like Dr. Zuckerman said, it's about education. And thank you very much. Thank you for listening to us. And I hope you have learned something from there. Even if you haven't, it's still knowledge is power. Power is everything else. And everybody else, throughout the world, good evening, goodbye, and stay safe.
Thank you.